Good evening. So, it's another day. I think the last video was day before yesterday. All I've done is just pull a couple more bits off the bulkhead and taped a load of stuff up. What I'm going to do is push the car outside, throw it back on the floor, push it outside, and then we're pretty much just going to go to town with a jet wash and a load of various chemicals I can find around the garage and just see if we can get rid of a load of the crud that's on the engine bay. So those relays are in. I'm not too fussed they're there, so that they can just stay. They're going to go eventually. I've put a glove over the top of the PW or PDWA. That's going to stay for now, but it'll go once I do the turbo setup. Wiper motors out, and then basically just taped over a load of the holes in the bulkhead. There's going to be water that gets in, but we just want to keep it clean for now. Obviously there's a load of crud down on the bottom of the subframe, so just going to go to town with it, try and see if we can get it cleaned up as best we can, and then tomorrow I'll take the rest of the masters out. I will start pulling all the fixings and stuff off, all the grommets out, all the plastic, like screw-in chunks, and pretty much just get it ready so I can start attacking it with the sander. Looking at it, a lot of the paint is kind of badly on anyway, so it shouldn't be too bad, but we're just going to try and clean up what we can. Subframe's going to come out, so I've got a load of solid mounts coming for that one when it goes back in. What else have we got? The new CAD brakes, they'll go on. I might do that when the subframe's off, if I've got enough room. I should do. We see how we get on, but I'll give you a little time lapse of cleaning everything up. So that was easy. I haven't got my mic on, and I forgot to say that at the beginning, and that's just because I don't want to get it soaked with water, so if the audio is a bit weird, it's not my fault, kind of. So I've just jet washed everything off. There's probably a load of water inside, but we're going to change the carpets, we're going to change the seats and stuff anyway, so not a big deal. Pretty certain you'll have seen on the time lapse, but I think we can confirm this car was definitely orange. Most of the black has come off. There's a lot of primer showing through, but I haven't had a quick look yet to see whether that's primer on top of the orange or if that's the primer of the orange. It's probably on top of the orange, but we'll see. While I've got everything out, I'm just going to drag the engine outside, and I'll just do the same thing. So as I said before, the engine's not getting any work whatsoever, bar some new parts and a bit of dress up stuff. All we're going to do to that is clean it up, try and tidy up the alloy work. So I've got a couple of different treatments that apparently work, we'll see. And then we'll repaint the engine or the block in the head, and just keep everything nice and tidy. I'm probably going to kill the alternator with a jet wash. So that's probably decided for me that I'll end up putting a Denso on it, or I'll just buy a cheap 70 amp standard alternator, we'll see. If it works again, sweet, but I'm not too bothered otherwise. But otherwise, this one's going to be heavy on the time lapses, but it's going to get even worse once we start doing paint prep, so enjoy it now while you can. So we're done. I've got 8% battery left on the camera, so hopefully that lasts, but it's gone pretty well. Engine's come up pretty clean, so we've not used anything fancy. It's just, let me grab it out, a super old bottle of no nonsense heavy duty degreaser. Says to water it down, but that's no fun, is it? So I've just thrown that into a spray bottle, caked it over the car, worked it in where I can, you know, full like car detailer spec, which I am not, and then took at it with a normal jet wash, and then just put the little like spot blaster that you normally use for jet washing your patios, and then most of the paint's come off, so it's good news. Just been speaking to Jack about what bits we're going to paint, so I think we've decided we're going to go all the way down to the toe board with it. So next steps is get everything back inside, jack it back up, pull the subframe off of it, and then I'll be basically attacking it with a sander and some Scotch-Brite just to try and clean it up. I'm being hounded by some of the guys to fully shave the engine bay, but I'm not going to do it. So sorry to disappoint those of you that want to see that, but it's not happening. There is a couple of unused holes in the engine bay for various like bits of extra wiring and stuff that's been put through, but I think I'm happy to just throw a grommet into them, maybe. I've already gone down enough of a rabbit hole with this car already, so bringing the welder home and welding up holes and smoothing them and doing all that jazz in 13 days, it's not going to happen. So there's a couple of small ones in there, so I might bring the welder back and we'll just tack the holes up, but I'm definitely not going to fill any of the bigger like wiring grommet holes and things like that. It's going to be an annoying enough task just to sand everything in the engine bay. So this is the second Mini I've ever owned where I've left the front end on. Whether it stays like that in the future, who knows, but good God, it's so much easier to paint an engine bay when the whole front end comes off and there's no inner wings to deal with. So that's going to be fun. Engine wise, it's come up pretty well. It's taken a lot of the paint off, and it is showing through some of the like original orange sort of primer, which is good. So paint for that should turn up hopefully this week, but that's not a priority yet. All I'm going to do is just dry it off and leave it there really. The next 2 weeks or so are just going to be trying to get everything ready for Jack to come down and paint the engine bay. We've got a load of dress up bits turning up from DSN or S-Scan 3D or Retro Sport or whatever name they're under now, who knows. just to dress the engine up a little bit. I'm probably going to order a couple more bits for the engine bay. It's like the wiper motor looks pretty rank. I've got a new motor to go in, but the bracket's a bit crappy. So I'll spend a load of money I don't have with them again. Otherwise, engine is pretty much staying as it is. So we've got new heater tap, new clutch slave bracket, rocker bolts, an oil feed pipe kit, because this one's on the olives, which is fine, but as soon as you take it out you get problems, so we're just going to swap that over just to make it nice and easy. The only thing we have to do to the engine, obviously for the EFI, is to put the new crank pulley on, so we'll do that once it's out, and I'll potentially pull the timing cover off just to see what lurks beneath, see if the chain needs to be changed. Although potentially I'll leave it as it is, because as soon as I take the timing cover off I'm putting a duplex vernier on it, so that's not going to help the timing. But yeah, for now. So turned out 10% battery is not enough. Alright, so where were we? Engine stuff. That's all going to wait until after the engine bay's done. Pretty much, apart from swapping some parts over and putting some dress up stuff on, we're not doing anything bar painting it. There's only 4 or 5 people that know what colour the engine's going, and I really hope it's going to look alright in the bay, but we'll give it a go. So put your guesses down in the comments, see what colour you reckon we're going for. Pink, black, blue, green, yellow, whatever. I'm not going to take your guesses as gospel, and I'm definitely not going to put a vote out, because otherwise this car's going to look crap. So yeah, join us in the next one when we start doing some really exciting paint prep. Have a good one, guys. See you next one.